Everybody, Brian Stevens here from Game Changers, and I have a special guest today, a fellow pro from SPYPOINT, Josh Pretzer, who is hosting the awesome show Building Whitetails. So Josh, welcome to the podcast today. You and I think are kicking off 2021 with this video podcast series for SPYPOINT. And I think it's just a matter of get to know, what's going on in your world and what's going on in Billy and mine over at Game Changers. So before we jump in all that, let's start with you and, how you got started into filming and linked up with SPYPOINT and then transitioning into this really cool show, Building Whitetails.
Sure. Yeah. Well, guys, everybody that's tuning in, thanks for doing so. 2021, man, dude, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Man, that's, it's a good question. So I guess it would have been 2019, was doing some work with some other companies. And I guess short story is, without getting too complicated, the marketing director for SPYPOINT, Dusty, saw some of the work that I was doing with some other guys. And anyway, I guess he followed me on Instagram for a while. I didn't know that. And anyway, reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in doing that. And I was doing some video work for other habitat stuff. Anyway, and loved it, was passionate about it. Still am, obviously. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of the short story of how it all came around.
You know what is sometimes when you least expect it, and when it happens like that, somebody reached out to you based on your work and just the quality of it, and not trying to chase it. I chased it for a lot of years and put the work in. I know you have too. And, just the fact when it comes around like that is pretty sweet, Yeah.
What's funny is years ago, I don't know, I was still in high school, and I remember some of my first cameras were SPYPOINTs. And I had a buddy that was working through with an outdoor store, and he got like a pro staff discount. And that was the coolest.
Absolutely, man.
Oh my gosh, man. And got a SPYPOINT camera, and I'm in my shop right now, and they're sitting on the shelf over there. Still work, still good cameras. And anyway, so it's funny to be here now and look back on then, and it's couldn't have pictured this happening, but it did. So
well, it's funny, Billy and I probably 6-7 years ago started doing some of the video reviews for SPYPOINT just to get our feet wet and cut our teeth with them as a company. And we did, and I look back at some of the early videos and things that we did, and I'm like, oh, good grief. But it was a way for us to build a relationship and just get our feet wet, again, if you will, in the industry. And one thing led to the other. And similar to you, Dusty came to us and did a lot of work and got better over the years, and here we are, just like you. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's funny how life shakes out. It really is.
Yep. Well, let's jump into 2020, man. I know you shot a giant of a deer. Your wife shot an awesome deer. Let's break those two. So your buck is goalpost. I saw, some of the video footage, some of the story. I know there's a lot of history to this deer, and, let's talk about that. And then obviously your wife's buck, let's talk about, both of those in whatever order you want.
Yeah. So there's a lot more story to my buck. We really didn't know about my wife's deer until last year.
Okay.
Anyway, she had 2 hunts she could hunt this year. We had our son Wes this April. And I in the last episode or last podcast where you did interviewed the shed dog trainer.
Yeah.
That was an awesome podcast, guys. If you haven't listened to that, go back.
Guys, I'm insanely knowledgeable.
Oh my goodness. It was crazy. And he's only an hour and a half from me, 2 hours away.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I need to get in contact with this guy, because I've got a lab. She's good at shed hunting, so on and so forth. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. But so we had a few pictures of her buck last year. He showed up this year. It's on a property that I don't really have much opportunity to manage, do much management on, and that deer came in on the second of 2 hunts that she could go out on. She hunted once during bow season and once during rifle season. And I mean, there's no one more deserving of that deer. So it was a monster. Awesome. Scored almost 190. Yeah, dude, it was so cool. I was with her. It was unreal. It was one of those moments.
Nothing better, man.
Oh, not at all. I wouldn't, dude, watching her pull the trigger on that deer, it's just unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Excuse me, it was unbelievable. Anyway, I get choked up talking about
it. I'm sure, man. That's awesome.
I bawled my eyes out.
Of course you did.
All these deer came out, man. We'd seen over 20 some deer that night. And had a couple nice bucks. I said it was the shorter of the story of the two, but this, I mean, we had bucks coming out, and she had probably a mid 140s to upper 140s 4-year-old in front of us. And she knew this was probably the only day she'd get to hunt during rifle season evening. Okay. And this deer is standing there, and she is the most dedicated in regards to shooting mature deer. One of the most dedicated people I know. I mean, and she's like, he's 4. I'm like, he's 4. I'm sorry. I don't think he's 5. And she's just, I'm not shooting him. I'm like, I'm sitting here like, honey, this is your last day. This is a good buck, and she's like, nope, not doing it. And I was like, okay. And literally all these deer turned and walked off. It was in a pasture where they're going out to a feed field. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, hunt's over. We had maybe 15 minutes of light left. And anyway, I looked down on the draw, and there's this buck. And I'm like, it's him. Anyway, and here he comes, 110 yards. That's it. He's the taxidermist.
Story's over. Love it,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, very so cool. That's hurting. I kind of told it backwards, the story here.
It doesn't matter. It's still awesome.
Dude, it was unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So Goalpost, my gosh, man. So Goalpost goes back. He was 5.5 years old in 2020, the fall of 2020 that I shot him. And I had history with him since he was 2.5. And a friend of mine actually shot him as a 3-year-old. And no, excuse me, a 2-year-old. It was just kind of let a buddy come up and go deer hunting. He'd never shot a deer before.
Just saw horns and thought he was a mature deer.
Yeah, and I mean, he was from a state where 120-inch deer. And don't get me wrong, 120-inch deer is a respectable deer. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But he just wasn't used to Midwest whitetail deer. And Goalpost was a probably 125, 130 class buck. He was
2 years old.
At 2 years old, yeah. And so I've got one shed antler on the other side of my shop, and then my brother's got another shed off of him. He actually broke half of his side off. My brother found the broken side. Anyway, so my buddy shoots him and hits him literally just in the top of the back, just a flesh wound. Deer's fine. And fast forward to age 3.5. Great deer, tons of character. Thankfully he made it through. I don't have a massive amount of ground here that we're filming the Building Whitetails series on. I've got neighbors around me. I got a lot of people that shoot younger deer and this and that. So I don't have a perfect scenario where I'm at. So it was 3.5, fingers crossed. Gosh, hope he makes it to 4. Really wanted to make it to 5, but he was a roamer. He really was. And 4 years old comes along, and he had a drop tine coming down the left side of his head, spiraled. He had kickers, brow tines that were almost close to a foot long. I'm like, this deer's toast. Deer's toast. No one I know is going to pass this deer. And he made it. Dude, he made it. And, I mean, it was one of those deals like, I don't know how it happened. It was grace of God that deer made it. And I found both of his antlers on my place here.
Wow.
And fast forward to 2020 and, started the Building Whitetails series and was I was forming the whole series around shooting a mature buck off the 80 acres that my house is on right here. And chances weren't real good just because of, my place here isn't like this dreamland. It's getting closer. 2022, kind of a short little snippet. 2022, we're doing a ton of improvements to it. Some extreme overhauls. So that's kind of the 2022 teaser for Building Whitetails.
Nice.
Is we're, you know, I mean,
Nice.
we're taking I'm taking what I did and just multiplying it tenfold. So I've got some really unique ideas coming up that I'm going to try. They work great. If they don't, I learned, we move on, you know, try something new. So he shows up on camera in velvet. He's got trash. He's got points, lost his drop tine. I thought he would. It looked like it was from a skull injury. And he was fairly consistent. I say fairly consistent. He'd be here for a day, gone for a day, 2 days, 3 days, be back. And it wasn't, I mean, he'd be here, show up on a camera. I got quite a few cell cams out on this place. And so I was kind of, trying to put a pattern together, you know, what he was like, what he was trying to do. And I did, we did a video on timber tips. And the next Building Whitetails episode is going to be a year in reflection of what I did on this place to improve the timber side of things and funneling deer using the tips from timber to do so. So, and a lot of that played into Goalpost and the story of Goalpost, and where I got pictures of him from. He changed some patterns that he was using and implementing. So he came, I shot him, I'm trying to remember the exact date, November 15th, somewhere in there.
Yep.
November 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th are when I've shot my 4 biggest deer. Second to almost third week of November. A ton of people give the hype to the first week of November. I mean, you know, my job's got me outdoors all day, every day, and I see more mature buck activity during the end of the second week of November and that first couple days of the third week than I do any other time. I mean, you'll kill big deer the first week of November, don't get me wrong, but that time that they slip up the most, in my opinion, in my experience, is that central few days in November. You know, people think that lockdown is, you know, game's up. I shot Goalpost lockdown with a doe.
I remember that. Yeah.
I shot Omega last year, 2019, 184-inch deer. He was locked down with the doe. And so, you know, just kind of learning the pattern of hunting deer on lockdown has really been, it's been intriguing, because the hunting community has given lockdown this terrible vibe, you know, that once it happens, game's over, your chances are done. And I mean, I kind of set out on this goal of trying to prove these people wrong, you know, because there's the more experience I have in the deer woods, these rules are just, a lot of them are misconceptions, and I'm tired of it in the hunting community, but I'm going to get on. I'll try not to get on.
Well, look, what happens and what might take place in one part of the country doesn't mean that that's exactly what's going to take place on your farm in the other part of the country, because there's hunting pressure. There's other things that factor into that lockdown, and what not only the buck, but what the doe does, because he's going to follow really her lead in many regards. So if you can figure her out, that's a game changer as well. Yeah, absolutely. So that leads us perfect into the next, I guess, part of Goalpost. Was I had 4 does living on my place, 2 mature does, 2 young does. And I mean, these 4 lived here on this 80. I mean, I can walk outside and walk to their deer beds right now. Yeah. And in a certain wind, they bed across the creek up against these 2 specific trees. A different wind, they bed a little further on. I mean, they're super, super patternable. And I've built that bedding area. And so basically, I mean, you'll hear me say it in the Building Whitetails series: help a deer do what the deer wants to do. Just make what they like to do and feel comfortable. Just help them do it even better. I mean, we go out and we try to manipulate and change, and you can manipulate to some degree, but a deer will tell you what they're comfortable with. So if you can find that sweet spot of stepping into their comfort zone, but tweaking it to where it benefits you just slightly, you're going to kill so many more deer that way. You know, particularly these older bucks where
they don't have a whole lot of tolerance for,
Not at
a
all.
lot of intrusion.
Yep.
So I had 4 does, and I got a picture of Goalpost, and he was locked down with a doe. And I'm going to talk about that in the next Building Whitetails episode. It's going to show the pictures of him. I mean, you can see on this lane I cut in the timber, she is back off in the right corner in the brush, and he is standing there right in front of the camera. I mean, it was 10:30 in the morning, just zoned in. He did not take his eyes off of her. And so that told me, I mean, it was like, he's here, she's hot, game on.
Yep.
And I hunted 5 hunts this year. All but one were for Goalpost on this place. And dude, I'm telling you, I'm becoming more and more of a believer in hunting less, but being more strategic about it. Instead of a carpet bomb effect of you have to be in the woods every day of the year, just be more in tune to what your deer are doing and being more intentional about capturing those opportunities when the weather is perfect, and so on and so forth. Because we get so excited that we have to go hunt. But if you really want to elevate your hunting game, you have to, I guess, encompass it around the comfort and the strategy the mature buck uses.
I believe that. And I've got a good friend that I've known that he's shot a lot of big bucks year after year after year for the last 15, 20 years. Yep. And his very similar philosophy is he hunts when the conditions are right and only when he thinks he can make it happen versus just going to hunt. And, and that has made such a difference in his success. And I've learned from him over the years is, if the conditions are right and you think you're going to push that deer, don't hunt until, again, you think it's right and it's going to happen, because you can do more harm than good most of the time. So I agree 100% with that.
Yeah. So the cameras, you're so right, man. And, as hunters and outdoorsmen and land managers, I mean, we just love to watch whitetails. We love to watch the interaction. We love to watch our plans come together. I love to watch my failures, and to know it's wow, that didn't work. Let's not do that again. Yeah. It's like dude. So I guess let me fast forward, because this is something I learned from this season. I'm a row crop farmer. And when Goalpost came out, so this doe comes out, I knew she was hot. I had her pattern down. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hunt her and her food source that she's patterning. It was in very close proximity to where I had the SPYPOINT cell cam out that told me that, he's locked down with her right now. So she comes out with a bunch of other deer, but they come around and they walk down a sprayer track. I got my own ground rig sprayer. They go out of their way to come around and walk through the standing soybeans on the sprayer track. Instead of just walking out in the field, they walked all the way around to where, and I saw every mature deer on my place, every mature buck do the same thing. A lot of the younger deer, they just
checking it out.
Yeah. I mean, he comes out and they all walk down the sprayer track. And I'm going to try it next year, or I guess this coming deer season. I'm going to run a sprayer track. I'm just going to drive my sprayer 20 yards from my box blind right through the beans. And I mean, I couldn't believe it. Deer take path least resistance, but I didn't think they were that lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a great learning experience for me. But he comes out, they walk through. She is out in the green plot. He's, keeping an eye on her. And I was in my box blind. Okay. I mean, dude, I was freaking out. I texted Dusty. I said, Goalpost just entered the field, and I was filming this hunt. I used my phone zip tied to a bog pod. I'm not kidding. That's how I filmed this thing. It was one of those deals. I was like, man, it'd be so cool to get this hunt on film. And then the deer jumps the fence and I'm like, crap. So I'm digging around in my bag. Like, what do I have? And I come out with this industrial zip tie. Like, well, here it goes. So I pop the tripod up, set the phone on, run the zip tie around, pull it tight.
Total MacGyver. MacGyver move.
Yeah. It was like, I do good under pressure. But so deer comes out. And he, I thought my green plot, I structured it to where the farthest spot in the green plot was 50 yards. That's I won't shoot past 50. I don't like to shoot 50, but I'm confident enough out to 50 to shoot
You're
that
like
far.
that, you will.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I structured the plot in a way that benefited me in that way. I mean, the deer love the plot, but let's keep the plot in perimeter and in proximity of my comfortable shooting range. So he comes and she walks the outside edge of the green against the soybeans, and she's feeding. And he walks straight into the middle of the green plot. And I've videos up. I can't remember. I think SPYPOINT posted the video. I can't remember. Anyway, It's on my Instagram page. The hunt is, and so he comes in 18 yards, and dude, the rest is history. I mean, I was fortunate enough to make a great shot. I'm just
awesome.
Dude, it was so cool. It was so humbling, man, because I've lived here, bought this place, was able to do improvements, you just work with your own hands. I mean, we're talking, it's not like you did some work and, it kind of worked. It's just like years in the making, blood and sweat and tears and, planted trees and had a drought and the trees died and this and that. I remember the first shed antler I found in this place. It was like, oh my gosh, it was like success. Cause I didn't, used to not have any deer stay here, but, and so that was, got goalpost and called my wife. She wasn't at home, but I called her and was freaking out and started calling buddies, how that goes. And
absolutely,
man, it was just amazing. And I mean, I had some friends here in 20 minutes and walked back. And I mean, he was literally behind the house here and brought him over to the shop. And it was just,
that's awesome. Incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Dude, it was an honor. I mean, sure. I never thought I'd get a chance at that deer, honestly, when he was a young deer, because I thought somebody else would shoot him on a neighboring property.
Yeah.
He got shot as a 2-year-old by my buddy, but
to live from 2 to 6 years old or 5.5 years old is, that's pretty special. That just, big deer like that doesn't really happen.
Right. So that's the accumulation of the story of goalpost. I got him back from the taxidermist. He looks great.
The pictures are beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's man, that's the story of goalpost and my wife's deer. And
very cool. So great 2020. Yeah. How do we top that in 2021? And
no pressure, man.
I'm telling you, you put it on yourself, but what are your plans for this year? Do you got any target bucks and, any deer that, you may hunt, or maybe that you're waiting for 2022, that you're just going to pass this year? I mean, tell me about some of that.
So I've got a couple bucks, that I've really got my eye on. I picked up the shed to one of them the other day, has a really neat double main beam. My wife passed him. He's a 4-year-old this year. He's probably 160 class deer with an extra main beam, 10 inches comes out. Yeah, crazy deer. Anyway, I got a cell cam picture of this deer. I was planting wheat, and it was the one day she bow hunted. And anyway, I got a picture of this deer. I knew he was headed to the plot. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. I was just sitting there waiting for the text. Anyway, I come home that night and I was like, well, what'd you see? And she told me, she said, well, I saw these deer and so, and this really nice buck, the extra main beam. And I was like, well, did he come into range? She's like, yeah, he came in 7 yards. And I was like, why didn't she shoot him? And I didn't tell her how old he was. She was like, I just couldn't get him over 4 years old. I just couldn't do it. And I'm just, what have I created?
Yeah, exactly. Good for her. That's awesome, man. So he's going to be a stud this year and even maybe next year.
Yeah. So we're doing, I got a bulldozer in and dozed out a bunch of trees on a different property. Kind of toying with some new ideas over there and some habitat improvement. Hopefully tie some of that into building whitetails, but I'm expanding my bedding areas on my home farm here. That's something that I really noticed was I'm lacking in timber bedding, and I need more grasses, more native grasses. So planting more switchgrass and a lot of oak trees, persimmons, a lot of wild plums, things of that nature. So, gonna dive into that. So
Well, and that's longer term
yeah,
changes, but if you're patient, in 2, 3, 5 years from now, it's truly will change the game. And we're doing this as a lifestyle, so it's not like you're doing this for the next 1 or 2 years. I mean, you're
yeah,
truly changing a habitat that will bring more deer in, better quality deer, let them get of age, and so that's awesome, man, that you're doing all
yeah.
those changes.
We have to think long term. I
Yeah.
mean, as game changers, land managers, we're building whitetails. That's how we coined the name for the series. It's that long term thinking in it. And that's something that, yeah, I think as outdoorsmen we do a good job of, but it's something we can always improve on.
Well, love what you're doing too is not everybody has access to their own farm or has access to a huge farm. So what
Sure.
can you do and on smaller pieces of property to help build up your habitat to have better numbers to keep deer there year round, or at least for different periods of the time of the year that they're
Sure.
going to come and stay on that piece of property so you have a chance during the hunting season. So it doesn't always have to be this massive ranch or farm. It can be a smaller piece of property, but being very strategic with, cover, water, food, those things, bedding, all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So my place here, I've said it in Building Whitetail series, it is not geographically set up for a prime whitetail property. The lay of the land goes one direction, and my place is this little rectangle that's narrow in the middle of this geographical transition between creek bottom and pasture. So it's a constant battle here. So that's something that I farm a lot of acres and row crop and whatnot, but I'm dealing with a property that's very relatable for most guys in the whitetail world.
Yeah.
I'm on 80 acres. This is 80 acres right here. And so I've got neighbors I have to deal with. I've got some good, some not. That's just, everybody's scenario.
Yep.
So, one is safety. Deer have to have safety. That mature buck has to have safety. One of my good friends in the outdoor industry said something I learned from him is, I don't care if a big buck leaves my place as long as he does it after dark. And that resonated with me. I was like, because I had this mentality of like, man, I have to create my place to where a deer never wants to leave. When it's just a great goal, but deer are going to leave. I'm sorry. A deer is going to leave. It's a free range animal. It's something you can't stop without, putting up 12-foot fences. So trying to create that as much as possible, creating that safety, that safe haven. And I tried to create, instead of just one bedding area, trying to create diverse bedding areas of timber, grass, timber, and grass, thick timber, not so thick timber. And creating it on areas where they can, get sunlight in both of those scenarios, or all those scenarios, in when the temperatures are hot, when the temperatures are cold, trying to just create as much diversity as possible, and catering to that. In the summer, you don't turn your heater on. In the winter, you don't turn your air conditioner on. So you just have to think, more back to thinking long term. What benefits these deer in the summer, the winter, so on and so forth. So that's the number one concern is sanctuary, bedding area, and then structuring habitats around my hunting plan, and structuring my hunting plan around the patterns of the whitetails. So, we've got sanctuary, we've got bedding, we've got, securing your access, which goes back to creating a sanctuary.
Yep.
And then your food sources. Water is an issue for some guys. A lot of guys, I've got a creek here that, knock on wood, never goes dry. But, so that's not something I have to deal with per se. But a lot of people have to deal with the water issue.
Sure.
So that's vitally important. And then food, having a diverse food group. I mean, majority of what a deer eats is native browse. So, we plant food plots and we see a deer eating on a weed, and we're like, what the heck, man? Why would you do that? Well, deer just do what deer do. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. It's important to have, quality food plot seed, quality bedding. Just, if you're putting so much work into it, you don't want to cut yourself short by planting a subpar product. We think, we go out and we drop, $1,000, $2,000 on a bow setup, and we're trying to save 10 cents a piece on tree seedlings.
Tell me a little bit about, the Ask Me Anything on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to be doing as you said, an Ask Me Anything on Instagram, because I want to engage with people. Yeah. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. But I'll be the first one to say, I've had failures, but I hope to take those failures, carry them out, and help people, shorten that learning curve and take I've and pass it along. I mean, that's what we're here for, as outdoorsmen, and just, striving to do the best job that we can. So
if you're not, Josh, if you're not trying stuff and making mistakes, then what good is it? I mean, making mistakes is just part of trying and learning and, to get better. And I think there's egos sometimes involved. And I think if you sometimes just stop listening to some of the yapping in the industry and just be willing to try stuff, and people like yourself, you're just trying to help. So you're not trying to push anything. You're just saying, hey, listen, I've made mistakes. I've had success. If I can help you, then, I've got hopefully some experiences that'll help shorten your learning curve or, speed up that time frame to success. And that to me is what it should be about. So that's really cool that you're doing that.
Yeah, 2020, it was a learning curve, just in the side of building whitetails, particularly just trying to, figure out what connects with people. And it was learned a lot, had a ton of positive feedback, virtually no bad feedback,
Fans are loving it, man. That's awesome.
It was, I had no idea it was going to go over as well as it did. And, there's so many people that are behind the scenes. I mean, I'm just the guy in front of the camera trying crazy ideas.
Hey, listen, you know what? It's a village. Everybody, jumps in and does it. But you know what? I just appreciate the approach that you have, and that it's not about you. It's about the whitetail. It's about the habitat. It's about the experience. It's about the land.
It's a story.
It's a story. And that to me is what truly differentiate those that are in it for themselves and, versus those that truly have a passion. We all like to hunt, but when we get in front or behind the camera, I think what really resonates and what people are obviously connecting to your show on is that it's about the journey. It's about the experience, the story, and all the things that you're doing and the emotion. When you shoot a deer like goalpost and your wife shoots a deer and you get emotional, shit, man, that's what it's like. That's what it should be all about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, man. I'm so tired of the fake in the industry. People that, I don't know, they put on a side in front of the camera that is not true behind the camera. And that's, I'm you can ask anybody that, you ask Dusty or any of the guys that I've been around. It's just, I hate that. I mean, I was shoulder deep in a cow's butt trying to pull a calf out earlier. That's real life. It's the way it is, man.
I was that about 35 years ago, but not today. So I can appreciate and have been there and done that. It's been a while.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. I get flat tires too. I mean, wow, but it's, I was just super thankful for everyone's, and anyone that's listening. I appreciate the feedback. Please keep it up. To anyone at SPYPOINT that's, I appreciate everyone behind the scenes and everyone that's helped, because I mean, this has been a learning curve. As I know that Game Changers was. I mean, you just learn things all the time. How do you connect to people better? So yeah, I'm gonna do an Ask Me Anything on Instagram, doing some takeovers, doing some giveaways, things like that. I just want to connect with people better. You know, ask me. Don't ask me how many acres I farm. I never answer that question. So many people.
Does it really matter?
Dude, it's like the first thing people ask is like, how many acres you farm? Anyways, and my generic answer is enough to keep me busy. So, you know,
food on the table.
Yeah, you know, so I just, or fire back, how much is in your bank account? Well, nobody tells you that. It's like, anyway. So, but anyway, but yeah, I guess let me flip the tables here and ask you, how did I give me a year in review of Game Changers? I've loved the podcasts. You know, the one with Melissa Bachman was great. I mean, they're all great. The one with the shed dog, dude, that one resonated with me. I was moving hay, and it was, I couldn't get the Bluetooth in my tractor to connect to my phone. I didn't have my earbuds, so I had my phone crammed up in my hoodie trying to hear. Anyway, so that's beside the point. But I mean, you know, that's on the podcast side of things. I know South Dakota was a deal. I guess special. Tell me about it.
Yeah, no, listen, I would love to. And really the cool thing about Game Changers for really Billy and myself, and my brothers included in a lot of this, is, you know, Billy and I grew up together. I've known him since the 4th grade, and we have hunted and fished from kids to adults. And we did some TV stuff, you know, prior to this, you know, together and, you know, cut our teeth in the industry, gosh, over 10 years ago. And had so much fun with it. And then, you know, built relationships with SPYPOINT. And then Dusty came and said, hey, you know, we love the dynamic between you and Billy, you know, best friends, we banter back and forth. And, you know, we had this concept, and we love whitetails. We grew up in Florida hunting whitetails and hogs and turkeys, but we also love the turkey hunt. We love to bow fish. We're big divers. We love to spearfish. My brother's a world-class free diver.
Dude, I need to spear a fish.
Come on, buddy.
That is a bucket list item, man. I watched my brother kill a hog with a knife, without dogs. Anyway, I mean, dude, I gotta
come on. We would love to take you. And so we like to do a lot of that different stuff. And, you know, and so that's the neat thing for us about Game Changers is the variety of hunting. And so it's the outdoors, and then it's the water component to it. And, you know, we bow fish mahi 30 miles off of Key West, and we're swimming with bull sharks and spearfishing. And we just were down in the Keys in January, and we're cobia fishing. And Billy shot a 40-pound cobia. And that time of year, they come up because of that, you know, Gulf weather, or that water pushes them in the warmer water, that Gulf Stream, and they'll come up to the top. And
oh my goodness,
it's not been done much. And so just that kind of stuff. So 2020, you know, we had some good turkey hunts. We had some good hog hunts. We definitely had a really cool show down in the Keys with my brother, and he does a lot of the underwater filming for us. And then, you know, whitetail was really good. You know, we had, you know, tough hunt in Nebraska. And that was my second hunt with Dusty in South Dakota. And South Dakota is just one of those states that it has so many deer. There's good deer on that farm. You just got to be patient. And, you know, we got it done. You know, the year before, we shot a giant body, you know, not going to score much, but Josh, he's same thing. Non-typical, probably 7-year-old buck. One of the oldest deer I'd ever shot, and I was as proud of him as anything. So much character. And you know, this year, this deer wasn't as old, but the way that it happened, he was chasing a doe, he was coming in, about to fight with another buck, and you know, we got it done. Just a good, solid, you know, Pope and Young buck. And the way it happened, and you know, the guys that filmed for us, Caleb and Ryer and Clay at Copeland Creative, they're like our brothers. You know, I mean, this is like, you know, these are our family when we do these hunts, and we spend so much time together that they get as excited as we do. And
Yep.
you pulled off, as you said, it's a village. It's truly a team effort of everybody. So Game Changers for us is about Billy and I doing things as best friends, doing a variety of hunts, and doing things maybe a little different than others. And so for us in 2021,
difference good.
and that's us, man. We love to whitetail hunt, but we love to hog hunt, turkey hunt. And like I said, we love the water. We both fish in Louisiana and big giant gator gar with our boy Alan Yater down in Louisiana, and that's just, we love that. And so this year we're going to do more of the same, do a lot of the takeovers, and just have fun and have people like they're in our back pocket. Maybe they don't get to do some of these things, but they get to experience it through us.
Yeah, dude. Vicarious is awesome. Vicarious is awesome. So it was fun. It was so much fun to watch the truck giveaway and side by side trailer, and then the cameras. Hiding the camera in one spot type deal.
We had a blast doing that.
That was great. I was following that from Harvest. It was
very cool,
like, dude. Come on. So. Yeah, I guess if anybody's listening, you definitely want to follow the SPYPOINT Instagram, social media,
and the Insiders Club. I think that's the one thing that I think that people would definitely benefit from, with the Insiders Club, is the giveaways. It's the content. It's discount on some of the plans and products, and it just gives them some inside baseball to some of the stuff that you're doing, that we're doing on our side of the business. I know there's some cooking shows coming. And so SPYPOINT is trying to really take it not only from a product technology, but just the interaction with the community and the type of content. And, and who doesn't love those giveaways? Dude, it was a Chevy truck, trailer, side by side. We were all so damn jealous.
Dude, I wanted to win that thing. I was like, oh my gosh, man.
I know.
This is crazy. No, dude,
Nobody does that.
This cooking show, Aaron went down. He films for Building Whitetails, and I got to see some of the video of that. And dude, I burn water, man. Hot microwave dinner was made for this guy. Yeah. I married a world-class chef. My wife is amazing at cooking, and dude, that show made me want to go try to cook a steak. And dude, I suck. I suck at cooking.
Yeah, he's legit. He's legit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was so neat to watch. I can't wait to watch the rest of the series on that. But
it's pretty good.
The Insiders Club, that's a great point. I got the Insiders magazine the other day, and it's funny because in there it was asking your favorite snack for an all-day sit. Yeah. And my reply was, I don't sit all day. And I was magazine, I'm looking at it, I'm like, gosh, that sounded stupid. Anyway, dude, I cannot sit all day. 3 hours, man, I'm done. I am just, I've got ADD, man. It's just like squirrel, and I got to go do something.
No, I hear you, man. It's when we do it, it's tough. And it's, I will say it gets entertaining. There's periods of the day when we lose our minds and we get, giddy, and you got to have fun with it. But
oh, dude, it gets weird, man. It gets weird. My hats off to those that can pull off all day sits. You guys are dedicated. Woo!
Yeah. No, absolutely. So look, man, I think, like you said, the Insiders Club, there's some new products from SPYPOINT. I got to let people know about that Link-S Dark. I got a chance to do some early reviews on it and test it out. And it's amazing, top of the line type of camera. And then the Force Pro is going to be a workhorse, game camera for anybody in 2021. So I think folks definitely want to check, those out for this upcoming season. But Josh, brother, it has been a pleasure to speak with you today. I think we covered some good ground, and congratulations on an incredible first year. And I think season 2 is going to be off the charts for you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's to everybody at SPYPOINT. Thank you. Our fans. It's weird to say, fans.
I know, man.
But just all the support, feedback, appreciate it. Keep it up. Telling you, man, it's a family, it's a network. We've got a lot of work to do. So same to, best of luck to Game Changers. And it was great visiting with you, man. I really appreciate it.
You too, brother, man. Be good, and good luck the rest of the month and get into the spring.
Heck yeah, it's shed antler time, man. This is
That's
what
it,
I live
baby.
for.
All right,
Awesome.
man.
Thanks, man.
Take care, brother.